licensed clinical addiction specialist associate and an associate sex addiction therapist at Life Healing Counseling here in Mint Hill, North Carolina. I'm getting a lot of questions about pornography in kids and how to talk to your kids about pornography and how it affects kids. So I thought this would be a good way to talk to everybody at once and answer some of the questions you've had and explain what's going on right now with pornography in teenagers or even younger actually. So if you've seen my other video, you know that the average age a child sees porn is 11 years old, which is pretty shocking. The other factoid is that by the age of 14, 94% of kids have seen porn, and it can come from anywhere. It can come from them Googling something, spelling it wrong, but usually it's from their friends showing them or talking about it, or maybe they just get curious. So how does pornography affect the developing brain? And what does that mean for your children? Kids' brains have something called neuroplasticity. And what that means is that they can form neuropathways and reorganize them a lot faster than adult brains. The more neuroplasticity you have, the easier it is for you to form new ideas, develop new behaviors, and understand new information. It's the reason it's really easy to learn a language or a musical instrument when you're a child and a lot harder when you're an adult. Because as we grow and develop, our brain loses neuroplasticity. So how does this apply to kids in porn? Because of the neuroplasticity of their brains, kids kind of take these values and ideas that they see in pornography and they will impact them the rest of their lives if they're not addressed. So any habits they develop during this time, they can become triggers that drive people to continue to use porn. I treat porn addiction, and some of my clients say they were even 9 years old the first time they were exposed to pornography, and it's something that's affected them their entire lives. We know pornography depicts a specific type of sexual behavior, and even if you've had that "what is sex?" conversation with your kids and they insist they know everything about sex and the experiences they're going to have, I recommend having a conversation about it with your children. I think it's important to say, I know you understand the basics, but I want you to understand sex can be a mutual, intimate, and loving, fulfilling experience, but you also need to know that it can be offensive and kind of destructive. Explaining what you see in porn is not really what sex is supposed to be like, or what it even is like is really important, and saying, I just don't want you to have an idea that that's what sex is supposed to look like or what that experience is supposed to look like is really important. A sexual relationship should be intimate, and it should be about the expression of each other's love and respect for one another. Porn is self-gratification, and it often involves dominating or mistreating a partner. And this is important because some pornography shows men and women enjoying degrading or violent sexual experiences, which could influence young men to believe women might enjoy being raped or that they would welcome those kinds of advances. And we have to ask, when a boy is exposed to porn at a young age, is he likely to have a more casual attitude towards sex? And are girls more likely to have that kind of casual attitude? And do the sexes have less empathy towards each other because of those images they've seen? Porn also creates a false idea of what a human body is supposed to look like. Men and women in pornography are using filters, they have altered their bodies with plastic surgery, and they've been enhanced and retouched. And they tend to be thin and they tend to be well proportioned anyway. And this is not representative about what the human population looks like. It communicates to kids that they must look like that, must look a certain way in order to be desirable and in order to have a sexual relationship. And that's not true at all, obviously. When we talk about body image in porn, we really have to talk about objectification and appearance. Pornography doesn't usually portray women as deeply developed characters or even as people at all. Women are often portrayed as simple objects. And this objectification of women can teach that men will only see them as an object. This inspires girls quite often to dress more provocatively, wear more revealing clothes, and flaunt their bodies and accept being an object towards men. There's a study by the American Academy of Pediatrics that young adults watching porn may overestimate how often their peers are having sex. And porn also tends to encourage the belief that it's not okay to be sexually conservative and that sexual abstinence is unhealthy or promiscuity is normal. And these ideas make it really difficult for people to form healthy attachments and healthy sexual relationships in the future. An article in the Psychology of Science found that more often younger teens exposed to content in movies and who saw porn were more likely to have sex at an earlier age, which makes sense because if they're being influenced by these images, they get curious and they want to reenact them. They also started having more casual sex, oral and anal sex, and the more likely they were to have unprotected sex and participate in other really risky sexual behaviors. To learn more about how to protect your kids from any type of addiction, please contact me at lifehealingcounseling.com, subscribe, or check out my other videos.